Oh gosh, oh gosh. Ah, I got it. Hello everybody. Today is Wednesday. Today we are doing another tag. It is the spooky book tag. I am not going to tag anyone specifically to do this tag, so if you're seeing this video, you're tagged, and all the questions are going to be down in the description as well, so follow along with me and let's get it going. First question is Corn Maze. What book had you lost from the very beginning? So this question I had kind of a hard time with. Me being lost in a book but along for the ride doesn't happen too much. Most of the time, if I don't understand something, the intrigue is gone and then I end up DNFing the book. However, after some thought, I think I could firmly say I'm thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. I was lost in the sense that I really didn't know where this book was going to go, but I really wanted to figure out where it was, and like a corn maze, it was creepy the whole time and very atmospheric, but it almost didn't start to get super scary or horrific until the very end, just like all corn mazes. Question number 2 is Haunted House. What book has the creepiest setting? And this also I had a hard time with. I didn't want to pick something like a haunted house or anything like that. So instead I decided to go with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. If you've seen Blade Runner, the movie from the 80s, or 2049, the new one that came out, this is the world that it's based on, the book. So in this is a dystopian future where there are synthetic human beings, and just the world sucks overall. It's a setting that I would hate to be in. It's very creepy, it's very bleak, it's a world that's just really horrific. So if you like dystopian novels, there you go. Question number 3 is Ghost Boyfriend. Who is your eternal book boyfriend? And for this one, it was no contest for me. Jace from the Mortal Instruments series. This is book 2. I don't have book 1. I still need to get a complete set. I'm working on it. But Jace, gosh, filled my little teenage heart with so much love and desire. I knew that there was no guy that was ever gonna come close. They're out there. And Jace also, like, looking back kind of sucked, but I still love him. And he's still my eternal book boyfriend when I think about that kind of stuff. At this point in my married life, I don't really have book boyfriends. That might change in February when I read all of those romances I'm acquiring, but we'll see. Question number 4 is Caramel Apple Sucker. What is the best Halloween book? And I chose a classic, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, because if any book gives me goosebumps and makes me scared and gives me the chills and I can't really read too much of it, it's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And the movie did not do it justice. That book was scary. Question 5 is split into an A and a B part. 5A is Pumpkin Everything, your favorite Halloween tropes. And my favorite scary Halloween, any kind of trope, is the evil, possessed, or just the scary children in books or movies. Those things, they just scare me. Children are terrifying just in the sense that, you know, do they remember their past lives? Are they actually evil? Like, you don't know, and it really terrifies me. 5B is Vampires in Everything, your least favorite Halloween trope. And my least favorite, I think, trope in general is just woman generally, but I'll say person, was crazy and imagined the whole thing. And so it just kind of invalidates the whole story, and it just, like, it's just really boring, and it feels like a cop-out, and then it just feels like, well, I wasted my time with that story because the person was just crazy, so boring. There you go. Question 6 is Evil Incarnate, the most evil villain. And this one I kind of had a little bit of a struggle with because I felt like any book that I told you the villain, I was gonna be a spoiler, so I'm just gonna be very vague. I'm just gonna tell you the book. And In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I'm not gonna say anything else. Question 7 is Ouija Board, a book that messes with stuff that you don't want to mess with. And this question kind of confused me at first, like, I guess in the sense that, like, most people don't believe in ghosts, but they don't want to mess with ghosts either. They don't want to bring it upon themselves if ghosts do exist. So it was a little bit confusing in that sense, I guess. But some of my biggest fears, or one of my biggest fears, is being gaslighted and being thrown into like a mental institution without being capable of getting out, like someone has taken my rights away. And a book that kind of touched on that for me, and it was interesting, and it's going to be interesting on this list because it's not a scary book, but it's Where'd You Go, Bernadette, because this book was kind of just telling you like a life of a person, and then all of a sudden they were getting gaslighted and they were about to be thrown into a mental institution against their will. And it was very scary how all of a sudden those things built up and how there really was no pattern that you could have identified. That, like, for me, when I read scary books or I watch scary movies, I'm like, okay, like, don't do that. If this happens in real life, you know, don't do that, don't be dumb, whatever. But in Where'd You Go, Bernadette, it was very much a lot of misunderstandings that happened, and so it was very scary to me. In the middle of just this normal book, we were getting like, oh, my biggest fear. Question number 8 is full moon. What character do you turn into under a full moon? And honestly, I was thinking about this. I think Frankenstein's monster. I get very existential, I get very lonely and down and depressed, and so like once in a full moon, maybe once a month sounds about right, I'll get super like existential about the world and my creator and what has happened, and I feel very much like dramatic. Just like Frankenstein's monster. Question number 8, All Hallows Eve. What book do you wish you could get swept up in? And I tried very hard to think of any other book that I could talk about that like really I wanted to be a part of, that was different enough from my world, that felt magical, and I could only think of one series, and this must just be the nostalgia factor. I really, really want to be a wizard. I really want to live in Harry Potter world. I really wish I went to Hogwarts. I really want to have taken those classes. I would go back to school, be a child again if I could go to Hogwarts. If you could let me, I would. Question number 10, Voodoo Doll. If you could control any author, what author would it be and what would you have them write? This was very easy for me. I would control J.K. Rowling and I would have her write an apology. Question 11, Black Cat. What red flags do you look out for in books? So this is kind of hard for me. I really don't like specific tropes and I'll tend to stay away from them. Is that necessarily a red flag? I don't really think so. I guess big red flags for me are things that would prevent me from suspending my disbelief, especially in really anything. This could be in fantasy, it could be in contemporary, it could be in mysteries, really anything that seems illogical or not in character, or even some things that pull me out of the story, like specific branding, like he pulled out his Samsung Galaxy Note 10, like chill, he pulled out his phone. Don't do that, don't pull me out of a book, we are escaping. So those are big, I guess, red flags for me. Last question, question 12, Witch's Brew. What book had a lot of elements thrown together, but the end result was magical? And for me, one book. The Faceless Old Woman Who Secretly Lives in Your Home. This book had mystery, history, sea adventures. This book has tragic childhood, Mediterranean landscaping, pirates, criminal underworld of Europe, smugglers, and then just wrapped up in a very, very small little present in the very center is this beautiful revenge story. And the best part about this book is that it's part of something of a series, the Welcome to Night Vale series, and it works in the series and it also works as a solo book, and it's just one of my favorites, a beautiful, magical piece of fiction. I recommend it. Oh god, and it's beautiful. Look at how beautiful it is. Let me get everybody together. Let's say goodbye. You guys, that was the spooky book tag. I hope you had fun. I hope we can continue this conversation about spooky books and spooky tropes and what we like and what we don't down in the comments. I hope you had a great day. I hope you continue to have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!